You've pulled 10 all-nighters, written 10 pieces, and the result is the same. No one clicks. You don't understand why you work so hard, yet no one sees you. It's not your fault, but you need to know why. It's not that you're not good enough, you just haven't learned how to start in a way that makes people feel you've hit the nail on the head. Hello everyone, I'm T&M, a channel dedicated to helping creators overcome obstacles. I understand that struggle of having everything ready but lacking the final push, when you're clearly prepared, but you hesitate to hit the start button. This feeling can be truly frustrating, right? You might have always thought this was your own problem, that you weren't trying hard enough or weren't disciplined enough. But today, I'm here to change your perception. I want to tell you that this is absolutely not your fault. What you're experiencing is a more common and subtle psychological trap than you imagine. It's called initiation resistance. It's like an invisible wall standing between you and your work. So, why are we increasingly reluctant to start? Let's break down 4 major traps and see if you're also caught in these psychological mechanisms where being too smart backfires. 4 major traps. Trap 1: Information overload. The first trap is information overload. In this era, information explodes to an unimaginable degree. You want to write about a topic, a quick search, and wow! You're flooded with data. Various viewpoints, all sorts of best practices. You think, I need to consider all of this. And what happens? Your brain gets overwhelmed by this massive amount of information. Before you even start writing, countless versions are already running through your mind. Is this beginning good enough? Will that argument be too shallow? Is this example not new enough? You haven't even begun creating, and you're already caught in endless decision paralysis. Your brain is simply crushed by all possibilities. When there are too many choices and information is too complex, people instinctively choose inaction. Because this is the path of least resistance. It's not that you're lazy, it's that you want to do everything perfectly and consider every detail. As a result, you become paralyzed. It's like having a grand feast in front of you, but you don't eat a single bite because you don't know where to start. This impact of the information deluge is actually more severe than we imagine. It doesn't just happen during creation. You encounter it when planning a trip, choosing a restaurant, or even deciding which movie to watch. When our brain receives an overload of information, it triggers a protection mechanism. This mechanism makes the brain enter a stagnation mode, to avoid excessive energy consumption. So, what you feel isn't laziness, it's your brain telling you, I'm overloaded. You might continuously search, continuously read, thinking that if you look a little more, you'll find the perfect answer. But often, the more you read, the more confused you become. Because every new piece of information might open up a new line of thought, making you doubt your original ideas. So, you circle in the ocean of information but never reach the shore. This is the analysis paralysis caused by information overload. It makes you think you're working hard, but in reality, you're not making any substantive progress. To escape this trap, you must learn to set information boundaries for yourself. Before you start creating, clearly tell yourself, I will only consult 3 reliable sources, or only spend 30 minutes searching for information. Once the time is up, or the sources are found, stop immediately. Even if you feel there's more information to uncover, force yourself to hit the pause button. Because true creation begins the moment you start working, not from a search engine results page. You must believe that the information you already possess is enough for you to start a worst version. Remember, perfectionism is creation's greatest enemy. Don't let endless information become your excuse for procrastination. Trap 2: Over-rehearsal. Mentally simulating outcomes 10 times, then self-sabotaging. The second trap is a deeper psychological barrier: over-rehearsal. Do you often rehearse a piece of work from beginning to end in your mind? Multiple times you imagine how your article will be written, how the video's opening will be shot, how the audience will react, and you even plan out the comments section. This mental sandbox simulation sounds diligent, right? But the problem is, you often only simulate the worst possible outcomes. You rehearse 10 times in your mind, and all 10 times you fail. You imagine that the audience won't like it, the content will be criticized, and your efforts will be in vain. When you mentally pre-experience all the potential difficulties and negative outcomes, your brain concludes, this is too risky, better not do it. This isn't laziness, this is your brain's self-preservation mechanism at work. It avoids potential setbacks by simulating failure in advance. So, before you even start, you've already talked yourself out of it. You've overspent the energy needed to start, without any actual output. This over-rehearsal is actually your brain playing an if-then game. It constantly speculates about possible bad outcomes, and before you even take actual action, it makes you experience the pain of failure. This virtual pain is enough to stop you from taking real action. The richer your imagination, the more detailed your rehearsal, the greater the likelihood you'll get stuck. It gives you the illusion of "I've already thought about it." It makes you feel like you've already put in effort for this task, but these efforts remain in your head, not translating into any actual output. This pseudo-busyness leaves you both exhausted and unaccomplished. To break this vicious cycle, you must learn to interrupt your rehearsal loop. When you find yourself endlessly rehearsing in your mind, immediately tell yourself, stop. These are just imaginations. Then, force yourself to do something completely opposite to rehearsing. Take action. Whether it's writing a word, drawing a line, or even just opening a document, it's better than continuing to rehearse in your mind. Remember, real action is the only way to break virtual rehearsal. Trap 3. Self-censorship. Too afraid it won't be good enough or professional enough, so you don't start at all. The third trap, and an invisible killer of countless creators, self-censorship. This trap is closely linked to the second one. When you've over-rehearsed all the terrible possibilities, your internal censor comes online. You start thinking, will what I write be too superficial? Am I qualified to write about this topic? Has someone else already written about this, and better than me? You're too afraid that your work won't be good enough, professional enough, or perfect enough. So, to avoid this imperfection being seen, you choose the safest option: simply not starting. This self-censorship makes you set extremely high standards for yourself, so high they're almost impossible to cross. You start judging and criticizing yourself before you even begin creating. This internal pressure completely paralyzes your ability to act. It's not that you lack the ability to write well, it's that you're too afraid of not writing well. This fear of not being good enough ultimately leads to a result of nothing at all. This self-censorship is essentially a variation of perfectionism. It condemns your work before it even takes shape. You hope that your first presentation will be a mature, perfect, unassailable masterpiece. But no creation is ever a one-shot deal. It requires constant iteration, revision, and optimization. You might be afraid of criticism, afraid of being questioned. But you must understand that every creator faces criticism. Truly skilled creators aren't those who never make mistakes, but those who know how to learn from mistakes and feedback, continuously improving themselves. If you're afraid to start because you fear criticism, you will never progress. To break through the dilemma of self-censorship, you need to cultivate a growth mindset. Accept that your work might not be the best at first, or even quite bad. But it will get better and better with your effort and continuous iteration. Focus on completion rather than perfection. When you allow yourself to make mistakes and allow your work to have flaws, you can truly unleash your creativity. Remember, no one is born an expert, everyone grows through continuous starting and correcting. Trap 4. No initiation ritual lacking a fixed opening action to signal your brain into creative mode. The last trap, and a detail many people overlook, the absence of an initiation ritual. Imagine athletes before a game, they warm up, stretch, actors before going on stage, they do blocking, breathing exercises. These are their initiation rituals, helping them get into the zone. But what about us creators? Do you often just open your computer, click on a document, and then wait for inspiration to strike without a fixed, repetitive action to tell your brain, hey, it's time to enter creative mode? When you lack a clear opening signal, your brain stays in a vague, uncertain state. It doesn't know whether it should be working, resting, or getting distracted. This ambiguity makes it difficult to switch from everyday mode to creative mode, leading to frequent distractions and ultimately, a delay in starting. The importance of an initiation ritual lies in its ability to create a conditioned reflex for your brain, allowing it to automatically enter a focused mode upon receiving this signal. This lack of ritual creates a lack of boundaries in your creative environment. Work and rest become blurred, and your brain cannot clearly distinguish when to focus and when to relax. This constantly disperses your attention, leading to low efficiency. You might get distracted when you should be working, and feel guilty when you should be resting. A simple initiation ritual can create a psychological anchor for your brain. It's like a switch. When you perform this ritual, you're sending a command to your brain, now, it's creation time. This will reduce your decision fatigue, allowing you to enter a flow state more quickly. Your initiation ritual can be very simple, even a bit peculiar, as long as it effectively helps you switch from an everyday state to a creative state. The key isn't how solemn the ritual itself is, but its repetition. Repetition strengthens the brain's conditioned reflex, making it a natural habit. Do you feel like I've just described your struggles perfectly? That's right. Because I've also been plagued by these psychological traps. But the good news is, these traps have solutions. Solutions. I've summarized 3 practical action strategies that can help you bypass these psychological barriers, allowing you to start easily and create consistently. Solution 1. Write the worst version first. Break the spell of perfectionism. The first solution, write the worst version first. Stop waiting for inspiration to overflow before you put pen to paper. Perfectionism is the killer of action. When you allow yourself to write poorly, you actually shed a huge psychological burden. What I do is, I set a garbage draft goal for myself. Today, I just need to write the worst 100 words, or draw the ugliest video storyboard. When you set the goal low enough, and with enough lack of pressure, you'll find that starting becomes incredibly easy. Because writing poorly requires no inspiration and very little courage. And when you start writing, you'll find that those bad versions often unexpectedly lead to new ideas, and sometimes even become the skeleton of your entire work. Starting with the worst draft is the only way to truly find direction. Remember, completion is 10,000 times more important than perfection. Solution 2. Establish a personal initiation ritual. Set a creative switch for your brain. The second solution, establish a personal initiation ritual. This is key to helping your brain quickly enter creative mode. This ritual doesn't need to be overly complex, the emphasis is on consistency and repetition. You can design a personal creative switch for yourself. For example, my ritual: brew a cup of tea and open Notion and write one throwaway sentence. Or, put on your designated headphones and open your writing software and play a specific background music track. This ritual can be any action that helps you relax and concentrate. As you repeat this ritual over time, your brain will automatically link this action to the task of starting to create. Every time you perform this ritual, your brain will know, okay, it's time to enter focus mode. This way, you can effectively reduce initiation resistance, making starting feel natural. Solution 3. Allow starting is just a warm-up. Lower psychological pressure, ease into the game. The third solution, allow starting is just a warm-up. Often, we hesitate to start because we place too much importance on starting, putting immense pressure on it. We always feel that once we begin, we must shine brightly and produce astonishing results. But actually, creation is like stretching before exercise. Stretching isn't for performance, it's to warm up the body and prevent injury. The start of creation is also just a warm-up. It doesn't demand that you immediately write a masterpiece, nor does it demand that you instantly come up with brilliant ideas. It just gets your hands moving and your thoughts flowing. So, before you start creating, tell yourself, I'm just here to warm up, to put pen to paper today. It's okay if nothing comes out. When you lower your expectations and pressure about starting, you'll find yourself more willing to try. Because it's no longer a huge task, but a relaxed preparatory action. Allowing yourself to just warm up will make it easier to take that first step. Summary and call to action. You see, you're not lazy, you're just too smart, too afraid to start. But now, you've grasped the secret to breaking through initiation resistance. If you also find yourself stuck at the first step every day, feeling like you're always exploring the path of creation alone, facing all the doubts and pressures by yourself, then I've prepared a daily newsletter specifically designed for creators called IC Lab. In IC Lab, I will write you a letter every day, helping you dissect a psychological obstacle in creation, providing practical methods and warm support. This way, you'll no longer feel alone, no longer get stuck, and you'll receive a dose of motivation and inspiration every day. Because I know that creation shouldn't be a marathon of constantly draining yourself. It should be a journey with warmth and companionship. I write a daily letter to help you decipher the emotional code behind viral content. Join IC Lab, and let's work together to get your efforts seen. tmtm.gumroad.com. If you found this video helpful, please be sure to give me a like. This is very important to me. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss more practical content on creative psychology, high performance, and self-growth in the future. Thank you so much for watching until the end. Remember, you're not lazy, you just need the right strategy and warm companionship. Starting today, bravely hit that start button. We'll see you in the next video.